Hello viewers, our pleasure to welcome you again to another interesting edition. I am sure it's going to be an interesting edition of the Neighborhood's politics today. Today's episode shall be discussing issues in Niger Delta. Wherever you are watching us, either on tntvonline.com or you are on the Neighborhood live Facebook page or on the Neighborhood Municipal Facebook page, or you are watching us through hashtag Politics Today TNTV, it is my pleasure to inform you that in the studio today we have a familiar face. He is into human and environmental rights activism. He is a popular voice when it comes to issues of rights of people, rights of the environment. Join me as I welcome to our studio Comrade Celestine Apkobari. Mr. Apkobari, it's nice to have you here again today.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers out there.
We knew you were in attendance at the recently concluded second Niger Delta Council meeting, which held in Akure in Ondo State, during which you presented a paper. Before we move into that, your paper, could you tell us what formed this Niger Delta Council meeting?
I think in 2013, the stakeholders in Niger Delta met in Uyo, to decide the fate of the Niger Delta people as peculiar people living in a peculiar, very difficult environment, and that if people, are not together to champion their own cause, to talk about their own issue, that nothing good was to come, to the people and the place. So they decided to, to set up a national council. That was the first national council of Niger Delta in 2013 in Uyo. So the one in Akure here, was the second one. It is a platform and a forum where people that have issues of concern, send memos to the council, to the technical committee member, who will sit down and look at it, holistically debate, pass votes, and at the end, recommendations are made to the Honorable Minister for Niger Delta, that has become a window through which we look outside the Niger Delta. And he will now, use his office to liaise with sister ministry that has the capacity in carrying out certain things that were raised during the council meeting. And if there are things within the purview of his office, then he will also do. So, literally, a lot of issues were brought, forward by concerned communities, groups, and individuals, including the minister himself. Minister for Niger Delta also sent some memos on what he wanted the council to also, debate on, and so it's one very silent, powerful forum that people are yet to actually, get acquainted with. But it's a very powerful forum. The vice president was there on Tuesday because he is overseeing everything Niger Delta. So for him to have come to that meeting means that a seal has been given to that meeting, and every discussions and recommendation made at the meeting will be handed over to him. Yeah.
Now, if we may ask, how were members in attendance selected? What was the selection process?
Well, selections were made from the civil society, state governments. The state government have representations from all the Niger Delta states. You have the commissioner for water and housing, then budget and planning. Those strategic ministries must have representative in all the states. Then you have the youth are represented, women, and the elder statesmen, and selections were made at the meeting in Uyo as to for who should be the council member. But at such meeting, there are observers, and you don't need to be a council member to be in attendance. People come if you can fund your way, because it's a people's forum. you come, and then if you have an issue affecting your community, you also send a memo in advance. It doesn't matter whether you're a council member or not. They would, debate and talk about your memo as if you were there. There is no discrimination as for who is presenting or winner. Like I was there to talk about the Niger Delta as a whole, then narrowing into the Ogoni cleanup and all that. But whether we're there or not, they get the memo. The syndicate session, they will sit down, debate on it clause by clause. They add to what they needed to add, remove from what they need to remove, and do a new note from what you have submitted. And if they need to pass all, they pass. They pass a vote like the recommendation that are submitted. I know that they pass everything, and they will now pass them, hand over to the minister, who will now follow them one by one, and ensuring that during the next council meeting, they look at what has been done. It is only such a meticulous following and evaluation of ourselves, looking inward, that can, enable us to move forward. I think that's exactly what that.
You said that the first council meeting was held in 2013.
Yes.
That council meeting must have come up with a sort of a resolution. Between that year and now, which is about 4 years gap, what difference was made between that last time and this time in the Niger Delta as a whole, out of the first council meeting?
Well, the first council meeting was a formation, was the setting up of this, and getting in who should be where, as per the membership of the technical committee, the council. So it was basically establishing, discussing that idea. Is it possible? Is it a good idea to come together like this and this and that? So if you ask me, this one is actually the very first one that people are beginning to. But the success of the Uyo meeting is that yes, the group has come to stay, and we have agreed that yes, the Ministry of Niger Delta should be the window through which the Niger Delta people should look outside, and they should coordinate the affairs of the Niger Delta people. So if you ask me, the mere fact that the Akure meeting was a huge success also tells you that the sitting in Uyo in 2013 was not a waste of time and resources. Yeah.
Who sponsored these programs?
Well, I've told you that the 9 Niger Delta states, are involved in this. But from what I heard while I was in Akure, the host governor actually has a serious role to play as for accommodations of those that are invited, those that are supposed to be there as council members, as resource persons, as facilitators, those that are playing different roles that should be accommodated. I think from what I got to know, the state government, did that. But again, in anything that has to do with the United States, that you have representation from the United States, you should also know that such a meeting, even if it is being coordinated by the minister for Niger Delta, you should know that the Niger Delta states will definitely have, because they all agreed, they must also have their quota, of support.
At Akure, did you see River State representatives sent by the government officially?
Yes, the PAMSEC from the budget office was there.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there.
Now, away from the surface of what happened at Akure, at that Akure meeting, there was plenary, there was technical session as well.
Yes.
Could you tell our viewers what happened during the plenary and what happened at technical sessions?
Well, the plenary, traditional rulers, youths, every other person came, and it was declared open by the deputy governor, Barrister Akpobari, and the PAMSEC of the Ministry of Niger Delta represented the minister, and that we all, stress the need for a meeting like that, of that nature, and urge everybody that was present to, to discuss passionately about issues that concern Niger Delta, devoid of politics. And as usual with programs like that, the whole state, we try to showcase what they can do in terms of their cultural display, traditional stuff, and so you also have spice it up with dance groups, and people coming to welcome their brothers and sisters that are coming from other states of the Niger Delta. So he declared it open, and we now retired to the technical session where only council members and technical members, were allowed to enter into that place, so that discussion will be useful. Yeah.
So now, coming to you made a presentation.
Yes, I did.
What did your paper contain?
Well, the presentation I made was actually supposed to be presented by the coordinator of IPREP, Dr. Marvin Dekey, but because the morning of his departure, he had an urgent call from the Minister for Environment. You know that the Vice President had been in charge of the Niger Delta, so from time to time, they brief the Vice President on how far they are going with the organic cleanup. So it was necessary that the project coordinator accompanied the Minister of State for Environment to come out to go and brief the Vice President, and they did. So because of that, nature of house vacuum, we must present our position. I have to step in to present the paper. But in summary, the paper was divided into two parts: Niger Delta and Ogoni.
Okay.
The Niger Delta, the paper said that in the last millennium we've had over 2,500 disasters that have shook the world, and they came from industrial activities. And if you look at the industrial activities, that the bulk of this are from the oil and gas sector. And the oil and gas sector in the last decade has affected the Niger Delta more than every other region in the world. And so Dr. Marvin asked in the paper, he said, we've had over 2,500 disasters like this. Some are similar, some are different. Have we learned any lesson? That was the center of the paper. Have we learned any lesson? If something happened in your community, and the same thing happened in my community, as human, have we learned any lesson? Why are we not able to mitigate, to stop, to prevent it from happening, or mitigate the impact, or actually, develop some cautionary measure against such occurrences when they continue to happen? But the answer, there was no answer, but I stimulated the minds of participants. I said, your answer and your guess is as good as mine, that we've learned nothing, because these things are continue to happen, and even increasing. And I flew with Amina Mohammed over the Niger Delta, and what I saw that day, for 2 days, it wasn't myself. When we leave our houses and we go to my one market, we go to my three market, and we run around Port Harcourt, and we think that we have an environment. When you fly over this Niger Delta, especially at that low place, when they bring it up to you and you see it, we don't have an environment, and we are very lucky. Maybe because our people pray too much. If not, yeah, of course, we pray too much. If not, what has happened in Florida and all these places, are child play. What I saw the day I flew with them in over Niger Delta, one day we'll just wake up and there will be no Niger Delta. Every place will be submerged. Because I saw an environment that there is no name you can call it. There was nothing left apart from the few locations where people stay. Everywhere there was water. There were coaches and patches of crude oil on it everywhere. And the water I saw can no longer be good for anything. Even fishes that naturally stays in the river cannot survive in it. So we have a very, very big problem. And I tend to draw the attention of the council members to that kind of scenario and how terrible, things were. If you go to Ayotro in Ondo State, there is now up to 20 meters from the last house to Atlantic. The place is eating up. In fact, a whole school, primary school, has been submerged, has gone. So every day it's eating up. And this is a region that produces the wealth of this country, and nobody cares about it. Shoreline protection, how much will it cost you to just protect the people? In Ayotro, they can wake up one day and there will be no Ayotro community. And if you are driving by boat, most time I go to Tuan Brass, because I used to have an office in Tuan Brass when I thought that they were serious with the LNG project. So we're just trying to educate and sensitize community people, Okpoma, women around the Brass area. In fact, I actually took them to Bonny to interact with Finima people, so that they can share experience. Those that have lived with LNG, and you are about having an LNG, what to expect. I took over close to 60 persons to Bonny, and so I used to frequent there. If you are driving by boat, not through Ogbia, directly from Bayelsa, from Yenagoa into Tuan Brass, you will see that several communities have been submerged. I'm not talking about farmland. Farmland, that one is everyday thing. You see a whole farmland of cassava and yams. You go to Tuan Brass, the farmland is there. When you come back, the farmland is already in the center of the river. You see churches already threatening, and we have money. The money that has gone into Bayelsa State alone is 10 times money that some countries in Africa run with. And what will it take them to just, do a shoreline protection? The money that has come into NDDC alone, NDDC was set up to handle things like this. There's just nothing. The Ministry of Niger Delta, I don't want to even talk about that. If you drive from Uniport, pass Bayelsa to Kayama, it's a disaster. That's why the thieves are just taking buses into the bush with people, because there is no road again. It shouldn't happen. I don't want to talk about the short distance to the refinery and petrochemical and seaport in the Ogoni area. So it shows how terrible we are, and we came to the conclusion that we have been our own problem. Because you have 13% given to you a derivation from the federation account, 3% goes into NDDC from every oil produced. Different ways through which money come into this Niger Delta region, much more than every other region. But what have we done with the money? So in as much as we are saying that Nigeria has not been very, very serious with us and our environment as a people, the one that they have released to us, how far, how well have we managed it? So we try to draw our attention to that. We need to do self-evaluation. We need to talk to ourselves. Then I open up on the Ogoni cleanup, the journey so far, where we're coming from, where we are, and the support that we need from council members. As for fund release, this is a polluter pays principle thing, meaning that we are not supposed to struggle for funding, because it's not going to come from the government purse. The polluter is there, and the money is there. And if we have agreed that $200 million be released every year, and the conditions they gave was that they want to be part of the council, the governing council and the board, to know how their money will be spent, and we have large, and they are there. So if that was the only condition they gave, then we want to see timelines that are set by the project coordinator. We want to see money backing the timeline, so that we don't have any excuse. The people have been so patient Ogoni people have waited. In fact, after the launch of the cleanup on June 2nd, 2016, they look forward to seeing machine on site the next day. But again, because they have waited for so long, but again, they didn't give thought to what we call 30 years of cleanup. But when people say this place will be cleaned up for 30 years, they didn't say 30 hours or 30 days. You know, there are some things that will be done that will not be on site. And that those things that are being done, luckily they have a Marvin who was part of the unit that did the auditing of the environment. And he's a young man that does not have any political coloration that you will say that this party is driving him or driving. He is focused, he knows what he's doing, he loves his people. And I think we will be very lucky, and I think that even if we have such a competent person there, if we don't have finances to back up the work that he is appointed to do, then we will not be succeeding. So these were just the issues, and we did some recommendation in summary of what we think that government should do and what we think that the oil company should do, and I mentioned that the government should increase the attention they are giving to the environment, whether it is Niger Delta or not. If you go to the southeast, you will see erosion actually eating up communities. And if government is set up to protect citizens and the environment and land, what is the ecological fund do? They just, in the last dispensation, they use it as ATM machine. And that was why they have to, move it that time from environment. Imagine a government moving ecological fund from Ministry of Environment to the Office of Secretary to the State Government, Secretary of Federation. That was what happened, and that was the money they were using to do town campaign. It is a shame that money meant, for the environment, taking care of the environment, was being used for campaign. I mean, it's only mad people that do things like that, and I'm sorry to say that, but how will you destroy your environment where you live? That is, you are digging your grave when you do that. The only assignment God gave to man is to dress the garden. In essence, take care of this environment. Everything around you, everything you will be is here in this environment. The day you destroy the environment, you have destroyed yourself, you have destroyed your future. So that governments will increase their attention, and we're also asking the oil companies to, take their work seriously, because they have the capacity, the resources to police their pipeline and their facility. They should not tell us, like I've been walking around the environment for so long, I know that we were not hearing about sabotage until the people started making demands on the companies. Nobody was hearing about that language, sabotage. Sabotage started coming when communities started making demands. And they virtually allow these little things out there to cover up what they are doing. The volume of oil that have been stolen by the oil companies in Nigeria is 1 million times more than the one they declare. And that's why you won't see any metering system. That's why you won't know the volume of oil that Nigeria produces. You won't know. The only where you get record is export terminal. This is the one we send out today. This is the one. But the one you produce, even when Norway came to offer to, meter our system so that we know what we are producing, the government rejected. They don't want it because of corruption. So those were, and we also ask that the companies should try to employ the youths in the Niger Delta. You cannot site your projects in the Niger Delta where you devastate the environment and then you go and employ youth from outside. You put your employment center in Lagos, in Abuja, and employ people from there and bring them to the Niger Delta. That was unacceptable anymore. Although it is late, but they say whenever a man wakes up, he starts his day. So we think that if they employ the youths, the tension will be down, because indeed, thinking of the Nigerian, there is peace in the Niger Delta when oil is flowing. That is the barometer. That is how they measure peace in Niger Delta. There is peace in Niger Delta. It's volume of oil that is coming there. When one oil is not flowing, then there is no peace in Niger Delta. When you ask them to come and do one thing, that's difficult terrain. But difficult terrain, you don't hear it when they are taking oil. No matter where, even if it's in Juju forest, if the terrain is not difficult, they will find a way and take the oil. even it is in burial ground. But when you say come and do something, difficult terrain, those kind of deceits must stop. So these were the things that we, drew attention to. It is high time, as civilized people, we should know the volume of oil that is coming out from this region, so that we know how to compensate the people. So that's the thing.
Thanks a lot. But we would like to find out from you, comrade, in all of these recommendations, where would the council come in implementation? Do they have any authority to insist that these things be done, both for the Niger Delta region as a whole and the Ogoni in particular, as per the cleanup?
Well, what the council did was to look at the recommendation clause by clause and voted.
Okay.
Is this demand or recommendation, is this okay? There was somebody who will stand up and say, yeah, to me it is okay, but this particular point does not only affect Ogoni. So let's generalize it. Let's say, okay, wherever this happened in the Niger Delta, so they can now, recast that to cover up, that kind of a thing. They don't have the power to implement, but they have the power to follow up,
okay,
to take these things to where, people will act upon. Because most time people claim that we don't know, we are not aware that this thing is happening, and they give that as an excuse. But right now you collect all this, send it to the office of Mr. Vice President, who oversees the Niger Delta, and people follow up clause by clause. Who is handling this? Who is supposed to do this? Who will do the first quarter? This one needs immediate attention. This one, so that the council is on it in making sure that these things are done. I think people are too busy these days in quote that they don't follow up issues, and you don't follow up issues. The issues are lying there. It said you can only get equivalent of the kind of force you apply on a thing. Newton's law said a thing remains at this position until a force is applied on it, and the measure you get from whatever you do, the measure of force you put in determine the return you get. So the council is not a vacuum, it's a force to reckon with as far as I know, and I think that we are expecting that the next council meeting, council will give a good account of itself of what they've been able to achieve.
Down to the Ogoni cleanup issue, a lot of persons have been saying, the launch of last year was just for the purposes of politics by the ruling party. You've been involved neck deep in this Ogoni process up to this point. When will Ogoni people begin to actually say things on the ground? On the ground, when?
Well, just like you said, I've been part of this, and people have really, the truth is that the support that this project got on June 2nd, 2016, when it was launched, is not the same thing today. A lot of people have lost quite a lot of interest, because what they were expecting, like I said, that machines will return to site. But for me, if you ask me as a person, I would say that government process is slow. And I want to thank Amina here, because if Amina did not remove this cleanup from TSA, it would have been worse. And I know that if Amina was around till now, maybe she would have also taken it, all this long...
I was going to ask you, sorry. Yeah. I was going to ask you, the speed of Amina and the speed of the Minister of State, who is overseeing it now, which one is faster, which one is slower?
Well, Amina is faster, and Amina is faster because Amina was the minister. This is a Minister of State who was, looking forward to either confirmation, or they will bring somebody to aid him. And as I speak, the Minister of State has not moved into Amina's office. He's still in his own office, so you don't expect the headmaster. So you don't expect the teacher or this to be the headmaster. The headmaster is the headmaster. If you are the minister, you have your shots. You can press some buttons. But if you are not the minister, you are not the minister. So, but that's by the way. However, they work together. They have the same vision. In fact, the Minister of State was the force behind Amina, because he doesn't talk anyway, but he was the first. But he cannot take away a procurement procedure.
Oh, sure.
It's something that you will do in 6 months' time. You should. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't understand how they. So you set up 10 things to achieve. You will only get 2 done because of those procedures.
Yeah.
You see all those things that they advertised in the national paper about spaces to do. Until you get to, if they say 6 months before you do, you will not do. You are just tied your hands and legs by government due process. So I think that due process is a problem. And if you ask me, I will also say that that they can confirm the minister. I will love it. However, there are a lot of things going on right now. If you go to the 4 local government, companies from all over the world are on site. These are things that people don't see.
Where exactly? Where?
They are in Korokoro, they are in Kedre, they are in Ogale. They are there.
Doing what, sir?
Demonstration.
Okay.
Of their power,
Okay.
their equipment, their chemical, what they can do.
Okay.
When we leave this set now, I will give you some pictures of the underground water in Ogoni, and what the water is when they apply their chemical. So you will just, these are things people don't see. If you look at it, you will know. Then, when this report was submitted in 2011, our land is permeable. It's not the same level of pollution again. So you cannot just come and start to clean with the report of 2011. Marvin has been in office for just nearly 4 months. He's not a magician to do that in 4 months, but they are doing what we call scoping now, so that they can, reassess. We will know exactly where we are in terms of pollution. So all these things.
Sorry, sir. Are you saying that the level of pollution between 2017 and 11 and now has reduced or increased?
It has increased, and there are new spills. Over 250 new ones. So it's not the same thing. And so when people are talking from outside, you sympathize with them. They want things done now, but done how? The wrong way. You can no longer apply chloroquine now to malaria. Malaria is too stubborn now. You apply chloroquine that we were using when we were born, malaria will kill you. We are no longer talking about chloroquine. So if you, what UNEP saw in 2011 is not what is in Ogoni in 2017.
So it's worse now?
It's worse now. So they are now, Marvin, the project coordinator, had to look for some Ogoni that has master's degree in this field, and they train them on scoping, and they have been doing that. I'm also sure that UNITA, the training arm of United Nations, will soon be training 1,200 Ogoni women on skills. I followed the team to Songhai Farm and Concordia Farm the other day, where they will stay, the hostels and what they will do. And the good thing is that after their training, UNITA will help to set them up. And unlike what we have been seeing in the past, when they say empowerment, they bring sewing machine, they bring dryer, and everything died there. They call that empowerment. This one will not be so. This will be agro-based.
Yes.
They will help them to set up farms, help them to do. And the good thing about it is that anything you produce, there is a ready market for it. But that has been the problem. You help people, you say you are setting them up, then where do they sell what they are producing? They don't have. But this one, Songhai and UNITA follows up to that point. So for me, that is the biggest thing, because once that is done, you'll be having middle class people. You'll be raising quite a lot of people with money in their pocket. Women that could hardly see 20,000 naira a whole year will be seeing so much money on daily basis. That is there. On water, which is what is killing the Ogoni people, bad water. Marvin, the project coordinator, has also met with River State Government Water Board, and they have taken statistics of existing water system in Ogoni. He set up his own team from IPRED that followed with, and they followed up, and they have done that. They have done that. They need to get the data of existing water scheme, going to not borehole, so that we want to see them reactivate the one they will reactivate and build complete new water scheme in the areas that we build the water scheme. So this is not the time that people will go and hire dirty tanker and put dirty water inside and go and embarrass and insult the people that you are giving them water. How can you carry dirty tanker to Ogoniland and people carry bucket from their house? You say they are giving them? That was an insult. So this one will not be like that. So these are all things that are being done. They have reached an advanced stage. I know that the governing council meeting will soon happen, and they will now give approval to some of these things, and you will see some of these things physically happen. Like I don't want to talk for the minister and the project coordinator, but we are pushing. Those of us that are outside are pushing to making sure that and this, and in fairness to the Ogoni people in the governing council, they are actually not sleeping. The Mossop president, Professor Ben Nane, all of them, they are Ogoni people. We live here, and this is a product of a struggle, and nobody will go to bed to sleep when your house is on fire. So for me, you know me that I will raise an alarm when once I sense that things are not moving the way they are supposed to move. The day I begin to see things leave their course, I will raise an alarm, and you can be sure that the alarm will not only be by mouth. We will raise a team, we'll be in Abuja, we will do protests everywhere. That's the way to be done. But this country, because of the long years we had in the military, people don't hear when you just talk unless there are some force applied.
Had there been whether open or subtle attempts by politicians to infiltrate this cleanup process, whether to slow it down or to make it part of their political jargon and campaign?
Definitely, you cannot take that out. From day one, when I started working with Amina, from day one, they have their own agenda. They have their own Mossop president and Mossop team and youth people they want Amina to work with. And when I came in, I said, no, this is an ongoing struggle. This is not an APC thing or PDP thing. This cleanup is for everybody. The pollution affected every person in Ogoniland. So the Mossop president we have is this one. You must work with this one if you want the cleanup done. Because politicians love, it's not something to talk about. I wonder how people could just be so terrible when they want to get something. They just see the wrong road and say, this is the way we are going to pass. And I told Amina, I was afraid the first time. I said, Celestine, I don't understand what you're saying. This is what I was given that we will do. And I said, we will not do it. If you want me to support you, this is where we will go. And with fear, she's not from Ogoni.
Yeah.
She blindly followed. And after the launch on June 2nd, Amina sent me just one text when she was at the airport, and I got it. They said, Celestine, you are God sent. That was just what she said. Because the road I said she should pass was the saving grace. If I was not there, Professor Ben Nane and Roslyn Konya will not be member of the governing council for the cleanup. Because Roslyn Konya at the time was the serving commissioner for environment, a PDP in this country. Of course, if it was a PDP government that was implementing the union report, you won't see any APC person near there. So the APC people also wanted it that way. That because it is an APC government that is doing this, we don't need a PDP person here. And I said, no. This cleanup is a product of a struggle. I have followed up all the negotiations from here to Geneva. Professor Ben Nane was the pioneer secretary of Mossop.
Yes.
The only office they did not contest for. When Ken, they were coming, and Ken told them nobody should contest for. He had been acting president of Mossop. He's a professor. He has followed up the process from here to Geneva. Roslyn Konya followed up the negotiation and engagement from here to Geneva. She spent her money. She's a proud daughter of Ogoni. I don't care the party she belongs to. She may be in PDP tomorrow and be in APC the next day. That is inconsequential. What I know is that she is somebody we are proud of in Ogoni, and we wanted a gender balance. Yeah, she has to be there. And the question then was, okay, even if they will be there, let them know who is nominating them so that they are power, they are loyalty. And I said I don't want to know about that. So if I begin to open my mouth on the disagreements, on the quarrels with politicians from day one up to the appointment of project coordinator, you will just cry. But I thank God so much that we're able to weather those storms, including the choice of the location. Today, people are bragging that they brought in the Julius Berger, the signing of the border of Bonny Road.
I was coming to that. I'll come to that.
People don't know why we launched UNEP report, why we took it there. Why we took that launch there was because of that Bonny Border Road, so that we can use one stone to kill two birds. And God bless her now wherever she is. But something happened again, and that was removed from the address of Mr. President because of some, politicians and their unbridled greed. Made there were some disagreements. And
Comrade, what happened?
They are not something that was just say. But the good thing is that from that day the seed was sown.
Okay.
On that border of Bonny Road, and we are happy that Mr. President kept to his word. When he presented the budget to the Senate, there was no going man in the Senate, but the road was in the budget.
Yes.
So that shows that the man was able to keep to his word.
And sorry, comrade, I didn't mean to cut you off. As per this Bonny Border Road, a few things have been here and there, especially on the social media, that a certain politician was behind the signing of the. You are saying that project was in the budget. The president took to the National Assembly.
Yes, it was.
So where do we link it? Where do we join the whole?
I don't know. It was in the budget, unless they are telling me that there was a budget padding.
Okay.
That is after Mr. President has submitted a budget, that the senators go and put something inside, because no Ogoni man was in the Senate when Mr. President submitted. The court had actually removed Olaka and removed everybody. So Olaka did not put Senator Abe got to the Senate after December 10 election. So the budget was almost, so unless they are telling me that there was a budget padding. But as far as I know, I worked very hard in making sure that thing was in the address of Mr. President, and it would have been in the address of Mr. President. But something happened which I may not be able to say here. But the good thing is, whether any person is laying claim to it or not laying claim to it, I'm happy. I'm a happy man that we took a wise decision. Because some of them that are even claiming that did not support the launch of the project there. They said, Bodo, I just got in compensation. Why will you take this in there again?
Their thought was where?
Bori. And I said that there was no OSP in Bori. If people are coming to launch a project on OSP, they should see a sign that this place is polluted.
Yes.
And a lot of things. I just thank God that I'm alive. And but people just go in the morning and say, give me food, and they just eat. And when they are eating, they thought salt is too much. But what has gone in, what I went through. Amina is alive. She may be watching this. Since I met Amina, since she took over in 2015 November, she left in February. Amina did not pay for my flight ticket one day, or pay for my hotel accommodation one day. On all the engagement I had.
Who was paying?
With that? Myself. I paid my bills. It was my own support, my own contribution to this Ogoni whole thing. This program is online. It's recorded. Amina is saying it. The Minister of State is saying it. They did not one day, even at short notice, as soon as they come here and there, they did not. Even the media works we did, they will ask me, Celestine, who is paying for this? They'll go to Wazobia, they'll go to this, they'll go to this, they'll go to this. Some of those interviews were done in the car, on phone. 1 hour, they'll be there talking. And they said, listen, how do you get this done? I said, this has to be done. And that was why when we were beginning to get to Ogoni and get to the site, I deliberately prevented Amina from meeting traditional lad and the youth groups who would have, brought some hindrances and bottleneck, matching ground, this that we avoided her, because Amina, as you see her, she's a very strong character. Amina would have said, what is this? To hell with Ogoni people. Anytime they are ready to, and she would have gone. So we suffered. I commend Muscle President Peter Mede tried. Kagote. We know how many night meetings we had up to late 19 nights. He tried. So a lot of things went in, but I give glory to God. But I can tell you that I worked with Amina for over a year. I pay my flight tickets. I pay my hotel bills. Sometimes I take night bus. I took risk in taking night bus and arrive Abuja in the morning for a meeting in the morning because I don't have money to fly. And I don't want to miss the meeting. I will be asking myself, if something happened to me now in the night, they will say I have all the money and I did not fly, and they will not understand, So quite a lot of things went in, but thank God. But we've gotten to a point of no return. I mean, I took this project to a point of no return. This cleanup is happening. There is nothing anybody can do about it. If you like change government 100 times, it cannot affect it. The way it was structured and the way it is.
As we wound up this beautiful period of discussion, let me ask you on a final note. Most likely, from what you have so far narrated or given us as an account of what has happened, the Ogoni seem to be on the winning side at this moment. The Ogoni seem to, their struggles over this year seem to be bringing some wonderful fruits. Would I be correct to say that?
Yes, there is seed time, there is harvest. The efforts the Ogoni people put in their struggle, there's a waiting period. The time you exercise some patience, and we would, use it as a model. Those that were shooting gun and killing people, they have not been able to shut in one flow station. They have not been able to achieve anything. This is a non-violent struggle. Just the intellect. Like, we were carrying placards disturbing the road. If we have carried any placard during the Amina time, we will not move again, because you can't push Amina. So at that point, we changed the strategy to engage. And they say we are fools. Why are you people keeping quiet? Celestine, you are too silent. No. What silence has gotten us is, Amina fed at some point, I owe these people. Until tomorrow, she says it, I owe Ogoni people. We gave her the kind of support, and look, the unprecedented. The day she came to Body for the first time, they almost carried her on her head. She was carrying microphone from one end, she was, so the people need to go and learn from the Ogoni struggle seriously at every point. For me, I'm a very impatient person when it comes to issues that concern Ogoni. But when I look at Amina, I saw that she was serious. When people were saying, anytime the election, Amina will come, I was laughing, because Amina is not like that. I know what she was doing. Within that short period of time, we did that launch. They set up the governance structure that Goodluck Jonathan couldn't do for 5 years. They registered APREP with CAC. They, open an account for them. She tried to remove it from TSA. She did so many things. They were able to gazette it. And, so it's like a autopilot. It will just move, because it had gotten to that point of movement. So we endured, Muscle President and myself, we endured a lot of hardship. People call us names, say every other thing, but only God will reward you when you do a thing that you won't get anything from. I know that, in fairness to Amina and the minister and the former Prime Sec, they call me more than 3 times, Celestine, what can we do for you? You have given up everything you have for this. She's a woman. What can we do for you? More than 3 times. And I said, just clean Ogoni for me. If you clean Ogoni, I will eat. That was my answer for the 3 times. I had opportunity of being on the council, opportunity of being anything I wanted to be, anything I wanted. But as long as I'm not taking anything from these people, they will always do what we say they should do. Because if they feel that they are paying you, after all, we are paying you. And that's why I was begging the youth and all those people at that time, let's allow these people, let them not give an excuse to say we would have done, but they were charging us 2 million to come marching ground. And they could not or anything against the Ogoni people. That this was where they stopped us. We wanted to go here, they stopped us. So the victory is for Ogoni people, for their tenacity, for their patience, and it's a victory for all of us. If I die now, I will die a happy man.
But you won't die now.
Yes, but that is compulsory, it will come. But if I die now, I will die a happy man because I had an opportunity of guiding a minister who came to clean Ogoni, and I guided her well. When Amina was sworn in as the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations in New York, I was there. At the reception, Amina said, everybody is shouting, Amina Mohammed this, Amina Mohammed that. I have so many heroes, and one is here tonight in New York. Celestine, can you stand up? I stood up in a committee of diplomatic people all over. What amount of money, can be more? I mean, can you buy that? In New York, a Deputy Secretary General, second most important person in the world, he said, this is my hero. And what amount of money can buy that? And I stood up, I was short of words, tears were rolling down my eyes. The MD or NDDC was there, all of them, and I was just, I was just saying thank you. I couldn't say anything. So, I mean, for me, generation yet unborn, and I want to use the opportunity to thank Dr. Zabe Nenibari. She is from Bodo, because we were in Goi. We were inspecting Goi community where we do the lawn. When he called me on phone, he said that he heard that we are in Goi. Please, can we consider that Patrick Waterside because of the Bodo road?
Yeah.
That President Buhari had been there before to launch a blackish fish on something, and he planted the coconut there. That we should think immediately. We left Goi to that place, and I told the minister that Buhari had been here, and this is the Bodo Bonny Road, and she bought the thing the same time. So that Dr. Zabe from Bodo community is one of the unsung. So any person that want to claim that they brought the Bodo Bonny Road, okay, let them take it. Nobody is taking. The glory should go to God, but I want to say that I thank Amina, but I know what happened. I know actually what happened.
Well, thank you, viewer. We are almost done for today's Politics Today. It's been nice having this activist whose stock in trade over these years had been to push to a global audience the issues of Ogoni devastated environment and Niger Delta as a whole. It's been my pleasure having here Comrade Celestine Apkobari. You've heard him, and it may not be a beautiful situation across the Niger Delta in terms of its environment, but there's hope from what he said that very soon the Ogoni cleanup will begin, will commence, and we expect it will stretch over the Niger Delta over this 5-year period.
That's why we have the high prep.
Yes.
It was, UNEP did not recommend high prep. They recommended Ogoni Environmental Restoration Authority. But the federal government, in their wisdom, under the former secretary to the federal government, Kifasi, in that one of our meetings, we said that it will not be good tomorrow when they want to clean up Bayelsa. We set up another umbrella. On those days, we set up another that we should just have one umbrella, high prep, that we take care of everything. That was why we accepted high prep. And some people said we were stupid. Why must we do this? But I know that we're not stupid, because if we are taking that to the National Assembly, because that was the alternative. If we've taken that to the National Assembly, by now we'll be there. Look at the PIB. In fact, we had a meeting with the South Caucus, and what they were saying, how much are you giving to acquire bomb from the $1 billion? How much were they? And I was telling the comrades, the honorables there, I said, do you read the report at all? We finish this report, we are implementing. We are not starting. What you should do is to tell Ogoni people to help you to launch a campaign on your own so that you can also get it. As I speak, the Ogugboro community traditional are in court over this cleanup, that they should stop the cleanup, that the Ogoni territory is their own. This is one thing that people have not heard, but I'm telling you that the Ogoni territory belongs to Ogugboro. That they must be involved before they start. I'm telling you. But that cannot stop what we are doing.
Well, Comrade, thank you for finding time to be here. We had to divert you from some other things to be here. Viewer, we thank you for being there. Thanks to the team that had made this program possible. We do hope some other times you'll find time to be here too.
Sure.
What's your final word to our viewer? What's your final word?
Well, my final word is our viewers should keep watching TV because they go deep down into, bringing up things that you have never heard and you may never hear. Like I may say 80% of what I've said here has never gone out anywhere, but because of who the team, who they are, we trust them with information we could feel at home. This is a community TV station, so we can say anything. So people should keep watching for latest information, and that people need not to be violent in their agitation. The Ogonis are gotten this far because of our non-violent approach. Yeah.
You on a lighter note, you must be a friend to many politicians. They may be cutting you because they see you as a powerful Ogoni man. Is it so?
Yeah, definitely. It's not necessary that I'm a powerful Ogoni man, but they see that I'm not a burden. Politicians are suffering. Every morning when you open their gate, you see more than 1 million people sitting there. They see that at their ATM and they go there. But I will go and do my own work for you, and I will not ask you of anything. So everybody will want to cut one who is not a burden. Maybe if I were asking Amina Mohammed, any day I meet you, please, 200, I want to go back, I'll tell you. Maybe she would have looked for another person, or maybe something. So when you see a man that does not add to your problem, he takes away your problem. It's like when they are doing their campaigns, and what I know that I can do, I just say, how much can this cost us? And we just do without bothering the man, because of the constituency I'm coming from, the human rights angle. It don't add to it. But that's why politicians are stealing, because people take all their burden to them. Where would they get the money from? So they have to steal to give you. So that's.
Thank you for being here. Thanks to Chinwe, thanks to Damian and Atat, who made this possible. We hope to come your way some other time with Politics Today. Comrade Akpobari, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks so much.
You're
welcome.
Thank
Well, thank you for watching. We hope you keep on watching us on TNTV as we reach you live here from Port Harcourt, Nigeria's most beautiful city, Nigeria's garden city. Thanks and bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.